if you're anything like me, you probably grew up collecting Legos. I collected many Lego themes when I was younger, whether that be, Ninjago or you get the point. I collected a lot of Ninjago. But as I grew older, I kind of lost the spark, I guess you could say. Like, I still buy Legos sometimes, but I just really didn't feel like buying the same set over and over again. But, oh, this one's a different color and comes with more minifigures. As I got older, though, I collected more things like Transformers. Like, the last 3 years, I've kind of just made a pretty decent sized Transformers collection. Um, and then I also recently started collecting horror stuff, like the NECA figures and some of the costumes and stuff. I always wanted there to be something in the middle, like a buildable horror set. Well, this company made a buildable block set based off of Stu's house from the first Scream movie, and I thought this would be a perfect time to review this with Scream 7 just right around the corner and this house being used in that movie and in the trailer getting burnt down. Sorry if that's a spoiler, but the trailer's been out for a while. So, I just still can't believe this actually happened. Taking a quick look at the box here, it is a little smashed, but it's whatever. They have some nice details on the front with the piece count with 1,200 pieces, 18 plus, obviously, and there's the lighting. We'll talk more about that when we get to the actual set, but, flipping the box around here, you do get some shots of the inside of the house, whether that be the kitchen, the garage, you can see on the inside of the garage too, living room, upstairs, one of the bedrooms, and then the bathroom. Inside the box, you do get a instruction book. It's a very nice looking instruction booklet, and you do get a lot of bags. There's a photo. I'm sure I have a photo here of how many bags you actually get inside the box, but it's not like a traditional Lego set where you have the I want to say bags. Like you have one, like a bag 1 and a bag 2. This one is like has parts to it, so like you have bag 2 part 1 or bag 2 part 2. You get the point. You kind of have to open them all at the same time to get pieces from different bags to finish the project. It's a very long process, and the company actually that made this, I believe, is over on TikTok. I will leave their link in the description below. It's like Build Boat or something. They have a lot of other Lego horror sets. I own a couple of them, but it's just kind of weird that this is a different company on the front of the box. So I have no idea if, who actually made it. But before we actually take a look at the house, I do want to just quickly run through some custom minifigures that I made, side builds, and then we'll get to the house. So if you want to skip to the house, there are timestamps in the description below, and on screen you can just jump to the house. Let's just quickly go through them, and then we'll get to the house. So, starting out with the custom minifigures that I made. If you do want to build these, the video link will be in the description below for that tutorial how to make that. But basically, for the minifigures that I have here, I have Sydney Prescott here. See if she'll stand. Built Tatum. Again, if you want full detail on how these are made, watch the video. Stu. I have Ghostface here. Again, these are all custom made and stuff. So, let's see if we get the lighting. And just setting those up here. Gail and Kenny here. And then, come on. Dewey. Set him here. Billy Loomis here. And then we have Neil Prescott with the handcuffs on, and we have Randy. So that is rounding off all of the custom minifigures that I did build for the set. Again, videos in the link in the description below if you do want to know how to build these, and we'll move on to the side builds. Quickly taking a look at all these side builds here. Here we have Dewey's police car, I guess. This is actually just using the instructions from Chief Hopper's vehicle from one of the Stranger Things sets, the upside down house, but basic interior, nothing too special, but I did want to build this just to have on the with the set on my shelf. So, and then I did build Gail's news van here. It is supposed to be like a tan color, but there's already so much tan on the house itself that I just thought, you know, white might be cool. You have a lot of gadgets and stuff on the top here, and then the back can open and to reveal some other stuff. This is using the instructions from Scott Lang's van from one of the Infinity War sets, or Endgame sets, I mean. It is very modified. I didn't have the right pieces, but yeah, you can take the roof off too to see the interior. Camera, some computer, electronic stuff in there. I kind of just took any random control panel tile and just threw it on there and called it good. I do have the OG Lego fire extinguisher up here too. So that's both of the vehicles here. And now we'll actually take a look at the house. So taking a look at the actual house here, I just want to say the look of it is so well done. I don't know, I don't know what photos they looked at to make this, but it looks really good. Scaling is a tad bit off, and I will talk about that when we get to the interior and some of the other size comparison stuff. But all in all, I mean, like, the front entrance looks great. All the bushes, the really iconic windows look good too. You actually do have a couple stickers. 2 are on the tops of the window from the garage and the second floor, and then there is one on the inside, which we'll get to when we get to the interior. But the Reaper thing on the front of the building is actually printed. I don't really like it, so I might buy another one just to erase it off and stuff. But all in all, I think they really captured just the look of the house from the outside. Now let's take a closer look at all the details. Taking a closer look here at the front porch, there is a lot of room on the front porch to place minifigures, so we'll just take a few of the custom minifigures that I made. There's Randy. We'll put Stu up there. But you get the point. There is a lot of room. It is all tiled off, unfortunately. I kind of do wish there was studs, but it does leave room for a lot of minifigures and stuff. The white railing looks great. The front door can actually open, if I can get it to open. So you have a little look on the interior there. We'll get to it when we get to it. Moving on to the side of the house here. This is the 2 stickers that I were talking about here. The green, right there, sticker elements. They do look decent. One thing I will talk about, the quality of this is pretty good. I mean, it's not as good as an actual Lego set, but it is decently close. You have the iconic windows here, the double-story farmhouse windows. These look pretty good too. I do think I might have built them wrong, just because this one doesn't really want to stay, closed, and I can't figure out why. So I might have built it wrong, but you have the shingle work here on top of here. This looks good. You have all of the windows. One there. There's one at the top. All the windows here. You do have a window down here by the garage too. And then moving around to the side here, you do have a window and the garage door, which we'll take a look at in a second. I do want to say, I'll throw the image up here, the building of the roof, like the way that they constructed it, is really weird. You can kind of see here the Technic beam right there, or the pole. I don't know why they did that. It kind of looks ugly, and it's just weird, because I guess they just proved that they could use a lot of techniques, because it literally doesn't need it. Like, you could have just placed the roof on top and it would have been fine. Like, there was no point in doing all that, just to show that they could do it. But I don't know. Let's take a look at the garage though. So taking a look at the garage down here, it can flip open, and this is obviously where Tatum ended up meeting her untimely demise in the first Scream movie. So this is basically, this set is based off of the first Scream movie. Even though the house has been used in the Hollywood studio in 3, was used in 5 and it should be used in 7. So, taking a look at the interior though, I just popped something off. Taking a look at the interior here, you do have a bunch of random just tools and stuff. You have a fridge, which the fridge build actually is really cool looking. You do have, let's see if I can get my light to show. There we go. You have an axe at the top, you have a wrench, scissors, another wrench, a lot of cans in the back. This little magnifying thing piece is supposed to be in the box in the corner, but it keeps falling out. And then you do have beer bottles. You can place a minifig in there, but it is kind of a tight fit. So we'll put Tatum in there, and then I think I could probably fit Ghostface in there. Maybe. You get the point. There is no dodgy door, though, for her to actually try to climb out of. So the way I have it displayed on my shelf is kind of just like, she's just like halfway leaned out of the garage, which no dodgy door does kind of suck, but I don't know how else they're supposed to make that with a bunch of panels and stuff. But garage does look good. Let's move on to the actual interior, though. So before we take a look at the interior, I do want to just point something out that I noticed while building. The interior of the house is kind of messed up. If you've ever seen the movie or the real life house, you will know that the stairs are facing the front door. So when you walk in the door, the first thing you see are the stairs, and they go upstairs, obviously. The living room and the kitchen should be swapped because the garage is right next to the kitchen in the movie, not the living room. The upstairs, I believe it's fine. It does make sense to me, but the downstairs kind of disappointed me a little bit. There's also no real way to get into the garage from the kitchen, which sucks. I feel like if they kind of maybe put a door somewhere just to give the illusion or something, but, you know, it doesn't really matter. Taking a look at the interior, though, get closer down here to the living room. You do have a red couch there that has a table or a coffee table in front of it with pizza, beer, all that. There's a lamp in the corner. There is a TV here too. Let's just turn it this way. This is a TV that the kids would be watching the horror movies on, like Halloween or whatever. With my minifigs that I made, I can recreate that scene where Randy's sitting, you know, behind the couch or sitting on the couch and Ghostface appears behind him. But this looked pretty good. The TV, you know, eventually is used to kill Stu, allegedly. We'll see in the next one. I mean, it's alright. There's a decent amount of room. There is supposed to be a mop and stuff under the stairs. I removed it. I ended up putting it upstairs in a room that you can't actually access because I didn't want it down under the stairs. I just think it looks weird. But moving over to the kitchen here, you do have a decent sized kitchen. Moving my light over here so you can see. You have the stairs obviously leading all the way upstairs to the bedroom and stuff. You have the countertops, and you have both stoves here and the ovens. These can open. The stove top is actually a translucent red. I'm not sure how that'll show up on camera, but you can spin the pots and stuff, so that's kind of cool. You do have enough room to recreate the whatever that scene is in the movie, something about where Billy and Stu are like next to each other. I can't remember what the context of the scene is.
You're crazy, both of you.
Actually, you prefer the term psychotic.
We'll never get away with this.
But you get the point. Moving on to the upstairs. And then taking a look upstairs, we have the stairwell right here. It's built decent, I guess. There's nothing to really say about it. You do have the bedroom over here, which I guess is supposed to be Stu's parents' bedroom, I think. But build for the bed and the desks and nightstands are decent. You do have a letter on top of here. Don't know why. There's a knife there too. Again, don't know why. You have a chair too that comes off way too easily. You can also recreate the scene where Billy gets stabbed, you know. if there was minifigs for the set, but you can recreate it. I'll show images here with all the minifigs that I made. But another cool thing about the upstairs is there's a photo here of the outside of Stu's house with Kenny's news van outside. I just think that's a really cool detail that they added. I don't know if it makes sense. It really doesn't make sense to me because, again, it is like, I don't want to say breaking the fourth wall, but it just doesn't make sense to me that there's a photo of the outside of the house when, you get the point. But sticker is a nice detail there. Get a better look at that Reaper print there from the backside. And then moving over here, you do have a bathroom with some blood in it. It's cool, I guess. The sink. There's a lot of room back there. You could have put something else back there, but I don't know. It's simple enough, really. Before I do move downstairs, I do want to talk about the area above the garage. Now, this is actually the window that Sydney would have jumped out of onto the boat. But the window is not a large window like these here. You can poke Sydney out of these here and on the front, but not this one. Which then the scaling, I think, is just a little off. And you can't really even access the inside of this interior. And I don't know if it'll even show up on camera. The interior here. I don't know if it'll show up on camera. But you can see the mop and broom that were downstairs that I put in there. And there's a pretty big room up there. I mean, they could have used it for something, like another bed, maybe. I get that, like, you aren't really supposed to see the side of the house from up here, if that makes sense. Like, the roof makes sense. I just wish it was removable, so you could, put minifigs on the inside and stuff. So that does kind of bum me out a little bit that there is no actual interior up here. But, I mean, the set was, I think, around, you could get it for like $30, which isn't bad. But for being fake Lego, you might not want to get it because it's not official Lego. And before I do my final thoughts on this, I do want to talk about the roof again, and then I will show you the other really cool feature you can do with this set. So let's take a look at the roof. And so taking a quick look at the roof here, you do have double chimneys on both sides. They are very repetitive builds. I mean, if you're not someone who likes to do repetitive builds, then I would not recommend getting this because it's a lot of the same stuff over and over again. Again, the roof, like I was talking about on the first story, is built weird. Like, you can see this Technic pin here. You have to literally, I'll show the photo from the instructions, but you literally have to build this whole thing on the inside and then place the panel on top, shove the pin through to, hope it'll stay. And then this side, I believe, is like, it just sits here. I can't remember. It might just be on like a few studs, but it's kind of weird to me. They really should just build it normally. And now the roof won't stay. Shoot. That's the downside for buying fake Legos. It won't really. Anyways, you get the point though. That's gonna bug me now. But that is the roof. I might fix this real quick. Yeah, the stud came up for it. Shoot. Okay, so after fixing the really annoying roof, which I think actually took me 15 minutes to do, we'll take a look at the last feature or function this house has. Now, if we turn around to the back of the house here, you will notice there is a cable. And with said cable, it is attached here. And I'll show photos and instructions, but you get this little cable thing inside the box that you just attach this little light kit to, I guess. I will turn all the lights off real quick to show you how the house looks, but it is really, really something. And then plugging the house in here. If I can. Boom. There we go. It is not the brightest light of all time, but it does still look really cool. And they did not have to add this. exterior wise, it looks great. I don't really have anything to complain about it from the outside. Unfortunately, it does not light up the garage, which is kind of a bummer, but it's also not a huge problem for me. I do wish it did light up the garage, but taking a closer look at the interior though here, we do have, you kind of see the lights there for the kitchen and the living room, bathroom, and the upstairs. Pretty cool. Again, they didn't have to include it, but it is extra value, I would assume. But I'll give you my final thoughts on this set. So, wrapping up the review here, my personal opinions. I think this is a great set. If you're like me and you like the first Scream or the whole franchise, this is definitely something I would immediately pick up. I will again leave the TikTok link in the description below, and the Amazon one if it's still there. Otherwise, you could find this pretty easily just by looking at like Ghostface building block set or Lego Ghostface house online. You could probably find it on eBay too for cheaper. The one thing that does suck about it, that this thing does cost around, I think, $30 to $40. There are no minifigures, so that does kind of suck. Again, I custom made all my minifigures for the set because I did want this on display with all the minifigures. So if you are someone who wants minifigures, I would recommend either watching the video that I made or maybe buying customs online. But I want you guys to let me know what you think about this set in the comments. Things you like about it, things you dislike about it, and if you are excited for Scream 7. I am definitely excited for that movie. Love the franchise. Make sure to follow me on TikTok, and I'll see you in the next one.